All right. Hey, good morning, guys. I'm meteorologist Ben Peine here with Ben at 10, your Southern Indiana weather show, also throughout Metro Louisville, Kentucky, the Ohio Valley, and beyond. And we've got a nice February finish. I'm calling it the triple F, the fabulous February finish. Today, it's going to be nice and mild. We're seeing mid to upper 50s this afternoon. I'm already seeing some sunshine out my weather window, 10,000. And we're going to see maybe just a little bit of light rain early tomorrow, but a lot of our Thursday will be dry. So that system is kind of wimping out a little bit. And then we've got around 60 and sunshine Friday, mid 60s on Saturday. So some good stuff again as we finished off February. Now, as we start off March, it looks like a little bit unsettled early next week. We could have some rain, maybe mixed with a little wintry mix Monday. Maybe a little more rain Tuesday into Wednesday, but there's a huge warm-up on tap, it looks like, for late next week, starting Thursday, Friday, maybe into next weekend. Around that March 6th, 7th time frame, we might be talking 70s, maybe pushing around 80 degrees. So we're going to be talking about that. Obviously, on the bottom of your screen, you can see we've got scrolling there Wednesdays with Weddington. So we've got local custom home builder Brad Weddington. If you have any questions for around the home, let us know in the comments, and we will put Brad to the test. We'll put him on the hot seat here in just a little bit. So that'll be coming up probably around 10:15. We'll be cruising through the forecast here. Pretty simple forecast for the most part until we have some changes in early March, early next week. As we take a live look outside, it's actually looking pretty nice out there. It started off really cloudy. We've had a weak little front move through, and there's a little rain in southern Kentucky, but most areas are going to be dry today. Seeing some of the seagulls out there flying around the river. The river's up just a touch. It's well below flood stage, but you see some of the trunks of the trees and some of that debris along the falls of the Ohio here and the fossil beds as we look here with the Falls of the Ohio Foundation.org camera with mostly cloudy skies, but we're starting to see some sunshine peek through as we look at extolmag.com/weather. By the way, thanks for the follow, the like, the subscribe, or the share. We appreciate that. That helps it move across the social media landscape. We're currently sitting at 48 degrees, so a milder start to the day. Looking awesome out there with a wind at 13. Winds will be still a little bit breezy today, but not bad. Coming in from the southwest to keep it above normal today with winds around 10 to 15, maybe a gust of 20. And so all things are a go here for today for some nice conditions out there. Just some sweatshirt weather, perhaps. No need for the big jacket or coat. I've got the brand new 7-day forecast here posted for you on extolmag.com/weather. I've got the brand new weather story that includes your weather history, your weather countdown, your weather jokes, all that fun stuff. And as you scroll down, you can see if there are any weather alerts or watches or warnings across the United States or our region. You can see it there. We've got a couple different interactive maps. This big gray one right here showing just a little bit of this light rain down towards Bowling Green. Upper right-hand corner is an orange circle where you can plot out dozens of different weather variables, which are showing the nice temperatures across our area right now. This interactive map can help you out during severe weather. It's got storm tracks, watches, warnings, all that good stuff as well. Plus, of course, your looping radar, precipitation type radar, and again, all that good stuff right there. So lots of tools here, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week here at extolmag.com/weather. Hey, I wanted to bring this one up. This is just kind of a fun picture here. This was 10 years ago. The rare combination of two chief meteorologists here meeting in the dairy section of the JC 10 years ago on this date popped up on my memories. That is the wonderful John Belsky from Wave 3 there. I'm holding the bread. He's holding the milk. We were getting ready. I don't even know if there's a winter storm or anything like that, but good times there with good old John Belsky. Hey, there's Brad Weddington again with Weddington Custom Homes. Again, if you have any not weather questions, I'll take the weather questions. He'll take the building questions or any questions for around the home. If you have any home repairs, we can get you some suggestions there. I'd like to give you that forecast here right off the bat, and then we'll thank some of our partners here, and then we'll get digging into that forecast. Your weather headlines here for your February 25th. Feeling better, as I mentioned today, mid to upper 60s. Wouldn't be surprised if a couple areas touch around 60 in some of the urban areas around the cities. And then some light rain early tomorrow. Again, not a big deal with that. That should be out pretty quickly during the morning time. That'll leave a lot of our Thursday dry. As I mentioned, the triple F, the fantastic February finish with 60 Friday and 65 on Saturday. So some good stuff, of course, to look forward to right there. And if you have any weather questions, feel free to drop them in the comments and we will get to that. Or if it's just a good morning, we love hearing from you as well. We've got Tim Furnish with sunny and 50 in Madison. Loving that. That's a good start right there. I'm going to always cheers to, we'll go camera 2 with the big happy cheers right there with the no cream in the coffee. We're going hard here on it's some sort of Starbucks. I'm not sure what it is. There we go. That's going to pump us up. So good morning to Perry Porter in Borden, Indiana, who's enjoying the coffee. Orlean Whitlow with 49 degrees there this morning. We've got a good morning from Christian Walker with 42 up in Indianapolis. Christian's on his third cup of coffee. He's going even harder. Dennis Gregory with a sunny Wednesday from Bedford, Indiana. Feel like the lunch walk is coming in. Yeah, this morning is turning out even better than I expected. We'll take that. And Alice Young with a good morning. Thanks for tuning in here. And hey, Christian, I see your comment there. Leaving for Naples, Florida on April 3rd and 13th. Weddington, Brad Weddington just got back from Florida. I'm jealous of both of you guys. Lillian Lasley with a good morning and 50 degrees down there in the Litchfield area. So some fantastic temperatures across the region. Hey, we want to thank our partners here. Again, if you want to learn more about home building or maybe you want to build your dream home, you can get it started right here. The journey begins at Weddington Custom Homes. WeddingtonCustomHomes.com. Hey, if you have any plumbing needs, here is your place to go. Clog Busters with a Z throughout the Commonwealth. They've got you covered, clearing the way one flush at a time. The plumber you want to call, you can message them with many different ways in the bottom right-hand corner. They've got an awesome website right here. Or you can just give them a call as well. Easy to do that, 859-762-1214. So keep them in mind. Easy to remember, Clog Busters. Also want to thank our partners here at Ivy Tech Community College. Their campus is getting bigger if you drive by it. They're building the Family Scholar House for single mothers to give them access to secondary education. If you want to get into the service industry, I mean, they've got dozens of 2-year certifications, great nursing program, all around great people. Reminder, Tuesdays at the Tech, if you want to get registered for some one-on-one information and tours there. And Lions Roofing, they're reminding you that March 15th is coming up. That's the 1-year anniversary of the hailstorm throughout southern Indiana. So a lot of insurance companies will give you that 1 year to make that claim. You can get your free quotes right here. Call now, 812-294-3595. Protecting your most valuable asset for a lifetime, or just go to lionsroofingco.com. And here's my buddy Michael Long with American Family Insurance, amfam.com. Well, this week is Flood Awareness Week, so we're going to talk a little bit about flood insurance and what you can do to protect your house. But if you want to get a quote and find some ways to save, 812-578-3072. amfam.com, and you can just search Michael Long right there. We're also partnering up with Grantline Nursery and Garden Center. If you want to get some landscaping help, you can head right to their place there on Grantline Road here in New Albany, or you can give them a call as well. It says they are now hiring too. And pansies are ready to go. They're getting a big shipment of roses in. So it's going to be a run for the roses as they're growing roses for you right now. Over 100,000 annuals. They are growing and nurturing and nursing there in their nursery. So some good stuff, some fun stuff as we look forward to springtime here. All right, looking good out there again. As I mentioned, we're seeing more sunshine out there. And we've got a good morning from Vicki Berger up from the Salem, Indiana area. Thanks for tuning in here this morning. All right, let's get to it. Let's get to your forecast here. Let's, again, bring up those weather headlines for our February 25th. Again, feeling a lot better today in the 50s. A little bit of light rain early tomorrow. Most of that's going to be in Kentucky, actually. And then we finish off with some 60s Friday and Saturday. A little unsettled as we head into March. Speaking of March 7th, not this Saturday, but the next Saturday, I believe. Yeah, is going to be Tailspin Ale Fest. You can get your tickets online, tailspinalefest.com. There's me and my wife. We've been to many of those. It is a fun time. You never know what to expect. They might have wrestling there. They might have a little air show. Red Bull's going to be doing something out there, and they've got a crazy team. You can get your mobile beer crew. There's participating locations where you can get a free ride out there. Learn more there at tailspinalefest.com. St. Patrick's Parade, I'm going to be one of the judges. It'll be the following weekend, March 14th. Love all the festivities and the festivals that are going to be happening as we start to warm things up around here. And that is a good time there, of course. A lot of good memories there from taking our kids to the parade there in the Highlands. Benefit concert coming up just after that, April 4th. Mark your calendars at Melwood Arts Center. They're looking for some sponsors too. They've got a lot of tables out there. Juicebox Heroes, the Suburbans are going to be playing. They're going to have food trucks and drinks, and they're going to have all the TVs up with the Final Four. And that is for Jessica's Journey Foundation. You can learn a whole lot more at jessicasjourneyfoundation.com. Again, loving the events coming up in the springtime, which is almost here. Time change in 11 days. Spring begins in 23 days. Thunder over Louisville in 52 days. Derby Day in 66 days. It's all coming quick. Our weather history for today: in 1914, heavy snow in North Carolina and South Carolina. 18 inches in Society Hill, South Carolina. So that's big for down in the southeast. 1934, a tornado outbreak in Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. 6 tornadoes, 19 deaths, and an EF4 destroyed 90 homes. We see it in the weather history this time of year. A lot of tornado outbreaks over the deep south and even for some areas farther north. And then also you have big snowstorms in February too. Very dynamic time of the year weather-wise. 1987, heavy mountain snow in Arizona, 66 inches on the ground from a multi-day event. And then 2017, a rare February tornado in Massachusetts, EF1 tornado in Goshen and Conway counties, first ever recorded February tornado in Massachusetts history in 2017. And our stupid jokes of the day, guaranteed to be stupid, no doubt about that. You know, dogs can't read MRIs, but cats can. But cats can. What do you call it when an inmate gets tased? When an inmate gets tased? Shaka Khan. What happened when Iron Man teamed up with Silver Surfer? They became alloys. Alloys? Hey, it works. All right, here's your forecast for today, your Wednesday, February 25th, 2026. 57 degrees, partly cloudy, milder, and just a little bit breezy southwest winds around 10 to 15. And the sunset at 6:32. Tonight's forecast, 37 degrees, a little light rain possible overnight and early tomorrow morning, a light north breeze around 5 to 10. No biggie, I'm going to call it here, with tomorrow morning's little rain chance. And then I think most of tomorrow is going to be dry. We'll probably see the return of some sunshine tomorrow afternoon, and just a touch cooler behind that front with 52 degrees. Not too bad there. Our 7-day forecast gets a little more unsettled as we head into March, but not terrible, I would say. We've got 60 Friday, our last day of February, Saturday, 65 degrees. Some data trying to hint at maybe a couple sprinkles late Saturday, and then some rain late Sunday night. But I think the majority of our weekend is dry and feeling good, especially Saturday. Saturday, your pick outdoor day, again, with temperatures about 14 degrees above normal for this time of the year. Hey, we're getting love for the jokes from Orlean Whitlow, from Vicky Berger, from Lillian Lasley, from Christian Walker. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. And the history from Christian. All right, so the deal here for Monday, Tuesday, we're going to have a stationary front. So that means a very tight temperature gradient. There could be areas within our kind of viewing area here for the live stream in the 40s. Some areas could be in the 50s or 60s. With that said, Southern Indiana maybe has a little better chance of a little wintry mix to kind of keep an eye on Monday. Definitely going to be a fine tuning over the next several days for early next week, but some precipitation chances there Monday and Tuesday. But notice our temperatures are above freezing. I don't think if we saw mixed precipitation, it would cause much of an issue for us early next week. Now, this is the Kentucky Flood Safety Week, and let's just say flood safety for our entire area. This time of the year, when we go late February into March, the ground can't handle a lot, and so our chances of flooding go up. But the spring flooding outlook right now is normal, thankfully, so we don't see any huge chances at this point in time. But a reminder, a lot of things you can think about here. And you go to our local National Weather Service page. If you go to weather.gov and then click on our area, you're going to see the headline for the flooding threat and a lot more information there for you. So one thing is to listen to authorities if there's any watches or warnings. Avoid driving through any flooding. That's the number one killer from storms is flooding. A lot of people are surprised by that. If you have flooding damage, document it, take pictures, wear protective gear. There are health risks involved in flooding. There's mold. You can get poor air quality issues. Watch out for snakes and wildlife because they are being pushed out of their wildlife. You want to test the water. You might have to boil your water if you have bad flooding in your location. If you live near a flood-prone area, you got to watch out for electrical issues. You have to make sure that the electric is off before you ever try to step in any basement floodwaters. And flood insurance. So this has kind of changed. It used to be all government flood insurance. And then, again, my buddy Michael Long from American Family Insurance, there's an inland flood policy that you can actually get optional flood coverage in one policy and not have to take out the huge separate policy. So if you live near a creek and your sump pump goes out a lot, you might want to think about that. And again, just know your risk and be prepared before a flood. And part of that is knowing the difference between a watch and a warning. A flood watch means we have a lot of rain on the way. So stay tuned to your local broadcasts, whether it's here, whether it's on TV or weather.gov, and be prepared to seek higher ground. A flood warning is issued when flooding is happening. And there's a flash flood warning and there's a flash flood emergency warning now. There's different levels to that. That means some roads are going to be flooded, move to higher ground. I've driven through flash flood warnings before, which are, again, you're not supposed to do, and it can be definitely kind of a scary situation. So we're going to talk a little bit about that here with Brad Weddington as well. Good morning, Brad. How are we doing?
I'm doing good. How are you this morning, Ben?
Are your arms tired from flying all the way back from Florida?
We didn't get it. We weren't able to fly. Did I not tell you that?
Oh, you drove the whole time?
Drove the whole way. So we were in the airport Sunday evening. Our flight was supposed to take off at 5:45. And they delayed it, and it was about 7 o'clock, and then they canceled it altogether because there was storms in Orlando.
Oh, geez. So you had to make a tough decision, huh?
Yeah, so we were going to be rebooked the next day, and then we were going to have layovers, and we're going to get there till late Monday night. So we're sitting in the airport after it got canceled, and I looked at my wife, and I said, well, we already have our luggage. Just walk back to the truck and start driving.
Oh man!
So we didn't go straight through though. We stopped for the night in Atlanta. So that
was like a builders conference.
Yeah, it's I always laugh about the name because it's called IBS, but it's the International Builders
Conference.
Unbelievable, Ben. Unbelievable. The size of it, the scope. 2 massive buildings of just product after product after product. It's a joint show with what's called KBIS, which is the kitchen and bath industry show as well. Okay. So lots of different countries there too. I mean, there was a whole section brought to you by, the German commerce. So a bunch of German companies. There was a bunch of Chinese companies all in a certain section. So very, very unique and in a huge, broad scope. I mean, it had international people there. So,
and you own your own company, so you don't even have to do continuing education, do you?
No.
So this is just on your own accord to learn more about your.
I've never went, and it's put on by the National Association of Home Builders. So as the chairman of our local Building and Development Association of Southern Indiana, it kind of behooved me to go, and it was nice, and plus it was in sunny Florida, so we were no complaints, and it wasn't that super hot Florida weather yet, so it was just nice and upper 70s.
Hard to pass that up. I get it. All right, so hey, we're talking a little bit of the theme today about flooding, and I wanted to just ask you, and what are your thoughts about, since you're a home builder, if you're building a home, do you have to think about flood risks? If there's a creek running by, or you're building in a low area, and then if somebody already has a home and is having repeated flooding issues, and I've got a friend, I'm not going to mention his name, they've had over the last few years flooded basement several times because they live near a creek, and I guess the sump pump wasn't working. But so I guess 2 different questions there. I guess when you're building a home, what do you think about flooding, and then what would you recommend to someone that is kind of in a frequent flood situation?
The frequent flood situation is just a tough situation. I mean, period, end of sentence. I know on any modern builds that we do, there's a flood map that's put out by the DNR. Mm-hmm. So in any parcel that you're building on, if any of that portion of that property is in a flood zone, you have to make sure that your base elevation is 2 foot higher than that 100-year floodplain.
Okay.
So, and the way that works is once we have the property staked as to where we're going to put the home, then after the foundation is put in, I have to have a surveyor come back out with a laser and shoot that point and make sure that point is above, and then you'll get what's called a flood cert that lets you know. So that's on the front end stuff. But if you're already dealing with it, and I was thinking about that while I was sitting here because I knew we were going to kind of jump into this. I drew a rough sketch. I hope it makes a little bit of sense. I'm not an artist, but so this is going to be your typical walkout basement. Okay. Ooh. So here's let's say this is the front of your house.
Yeah, it looks like mine.
And this is the rear. If you see that little pipe I drew in there, that goes out of your foundation into daylight. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What that's going to do is if you've got water pressure building up around the outside of your foundation, it's going to hit that pipe, and it basically you're putting a hole in the dam is what you're doing by doing that. So it's a very simple thing to do on a walkout basement. Now on a full in-ground basement, which is what I've got here, sometimes you have to go a little bit further to get to daylight.
Right.
Okay.
Is that French drain, or is that just drain, or
it's just it's called a foundation drain. So what it is around the foundation here, it's black 4-inch pipe that's corrugated, meaning it's slotted. Yeah. Now once it gets to this point, then it becomes solid pipe and carries all the way out. And it's got just a little bit of downhill fall to it, so that any water table rise will hit that pipe and escape before it gets into your home. That's another front end thing. And I'm going to be honest with you, Ben, that's 100% just from me building them and going, what can we do to keep them from relying 100% on their sump pump? Right. Yeah. You know, and that's
I'm curious too, if we have anybody watching us had any flooding issues, what they've done to kind of mitigate that. And recently, last November for my dad's birthday, it wasn't his house, but his barn was getting flooded all the time. So he had the entire family come out, all the grandkids. We dug a trench around the entire barn, put that pipe down, the corrugated pipe, like you said, and hasn't had flooding since. So it might not be your house, might be your barn. You'll have some issues. You might have to put a little bit of elbow grease into it and fix it.
Well, and you know, Ben, that as this spring starts to progress, our water table will get higher and higher. So you're going to battle that. Now, let's say you've already got a home and you don't have that ability to catch that daylight drain. I always, if I've got a full in-ground home basement, you know, no daylight, no walkout. Not only do we do a sump pump, we do what's called a water pressure backup. Okay. So there's different types of backups on sump pumps. Some people use the battery backup. I'm personally a bigger fan of the water pressure backup. Now the way that works on the water pressure backup is in your sump pump, you've got what's called a float. And once that float lifts up, it turns the sump pump on, the regular one. When you've got a water pressure backup, there's another pump higher than that with a higher float. So that if for some reason it bypasses that initial, it picks up on the water pressure backup, and that works off of your water service. And it's weird because it's basically like the water pressure is pushing an impeller, kind of like on a boat that cools the engine. It's pushing an impeller, and by doing that, it's pulling more water than it's actually pushing in there, if that makes sense.
Is that something anybody can install?
Yeah, you can retrofit after the fact. And the reason that I really love them is because I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen to my buddy's mom's house where the power went out, sump pump wasn't working, the battery backup sump pump, nobody had checked it in years. So the battery was shot. It didn't even work. To me, with these water pressure backup systems, there's nothing to maintain on them. And 99.9% of the time, if we lose electric, we're not losing water pressure. So it helps.
All right. And Melvin Harden says, I think we only had 9/10 of an inch of rain so far in February. Yeah, we're abnormally dry over much of Indiana, so that can help at least a little bit, but it doesn't take a whole lot of rain this time of the year for the water table to go up. Melvin Harden says tile for
That's okay. So your brain's going to floor tile.
No, I'm going to
field tile
because he's a farmer.
Yep, that's what he's talking about.
I'm thinking field tile.
That's what he's talking about. It's basically we call what we're doing, we call it drain tile for the house. Is basically what it's doing. It's taking that groundwater and giving it so water's lazy. It's going to take the path of least resistance. So if we've got gravel around the house and a pipe, it's going to flow through that as opposed to going through the dirt. So it's giving it a pressure release.
Laura says, are we talking seepage through the concrete wall? Not necessarily coming up from the bottom. Yeah.
Most what we deal with, we don't really deal with it, but what we've dealt with a little bit is the water coming up from below. The water seeping through the walls. Every home that we do's got a full waterproof package on it, or it's got a tar coating on the entire foundation. Mm-hmm. Now, over time, if you get a little crack in the wall, you can get a little bit of seepage, but they do make injections for that. But for the most part, what you see is that water that's coming up from below. You're not seeing a little bit of water. You're seeing people with devastating losses because they're losing everything in their basement. And one of the big things, Ben, and you can talk to your insurance guy about this as well. Make sure on your policy you have that option for sump and sewage backup, because that and I can't speak for every insurance company, but a lot of them, that is an additional endorsement or rider, whatever they call it. Yeah. Make sure you have that on your home if this is a concern at all, because the worst thing that can happen is you do get a flood, your basement floods, and then you go to your insurance company and they say you didn't have coverage for that.
Yeah.
So that is a big thing, especially in our area. Make sure that you have that coverage on there, because it doesn't fall back on the builder either. So you got to make sure you've got coverage.
I feel like I see it a lot when we get heavy rain in a lot of the older homes in Louisville and New Albany and Clarksville that get, kind of low-lying areas, not too far from the river. There just a lot of reports of basement flooding when that happens.
Yep. Now, from an inside perspective, as far as if you've got it leaching through the walls, you're going to see that more on the old concrete block style basements. So a lot more porous material. You can use a product like a dry lock on the inside of those blocks to try to help keep some of that moisture from permeating. But it's just such an antiquated technology.
We lived in an old house in Muncie, Indiana, at Ball State, 4 of us, and that basement flooded, and we had some stuff down there, some boxes, and we went down there, and they were like this fungus, like feet in size, that looked like aliens that had grown down there. And that's what I was talking about earlier. That can cause like airborne stuff you don't want to be breathing in.
When you were in college, it made you laugh. Now as an adult, you go, wait a minute.
Yeah, maybe it made our immune system better. I don't know. But all right. So we talked a lot about flooding. So what about spring? It's right around the corner. It's less than a month away, March 20th. Anything people should be thinking about? Some of the spring chores to knock off to make sure their house or yard's in good shape.
Couple things you can do. Number one, your house is, this is up to you. This is what I do on my house. Like, the doors have been closed, the windows have been closed all winter long. When we get that first real nice 65, 70 degree day, I air my house out. I open up my doors, open up the windows. I let that fresh air in. I like to do that in the spring. Another thing that I like to do is all of your, kind of back to the concrete conversation that we had last time. I like to pressure wash all of my exterior concrete after I know the winter's done, all the salt, the grime, the cinders, that's done. I go ahead and pressure wash the exterior surfaces of my home. kind of as a spring cleaning. Now, when we get into this time of year, a lot of homeowners start thinking about their yard. Spring is a great time for aeration, fertilization, seeding, all that good stuff.
Yep. And hey, you get some free exercise when you're out there in the yard doing all that stuff.
Well, everybody wants to go outside anyways. I mean, look, I'm ready to start doing the show from the barn again, and I think next week I might be able to.
Yeah, that next Saturday looks awesome. Which would be like in the or not. It wouldn't be next Saturday. I'm thinking of Saturday because it's supposed to be in like the 70s, maybe near 80 next Saturday. But you're right. We're going the right direction as far as the temperatures, especially late next week. Thank you, Brad, very much. Anything else you want to add here?
No, just be leery when you go to the airport. You might not catch a flight.
And then you got a long drive.
And
I don't feel bad for you because you just came back from Florida. Oh, wait, let me see if we had a question here while I was yapping away here. We had Crystal Bruner say, good morning. Friday is going to be great in the 60s. Yes, indeed. Laura was asking about the seepage through the concrete wall. Just wondering, I have a home built 1965 with a basement, never had a leak, but during the 90s when we had that flood, my walls seemed damp. I thought was going to flood, but it did not at all. I have poured concrete, no block. So that seems okay.
That seems okay. And even she just had a little bit of moisture in the 90s, and we're talking 35 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a major concern for her, and I don't like to sponsor brands, I just tell you what I use. And I've used it's a product called UGL is the brand, and the product's called Dry Lock. And you can apply that to the inside of your concrete walls. At least do 2 coats on it. It's a type of sealer, so it's going to help that moisture from permeating on through.
All right. As far as if somebody wants to build a home, you got openings. What you looking at this year?
I'm pretty booked, Ben.
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah. Now we've got some. We do have some fall slots available, but we've been extremely blessed, Ben. Can't complain. So we're trucking right along.
Hey, it might take that amount of time to prepare for a fall slot. So
it will. And that's, I had somebody yesterday that called me that we priced a house on, and he goes, all right, we're ready to go. And they said, when are we going to be able to start? And I said, it depends, because I have a meeting tomorrow. And if that meeting goes well, I won't be able to get you till fall. If it goes not so well, I can get you earlier than that. He said, well, my wife wants to start early. I want to start in the fall. You just let me know when we can start.
Good to have some flexible clients, no doubt about that.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
Here you go. Here's Brad's beautiful website. You can go right here, WeddingtonCustomHomes.com, and he's got a contact section. You can reach out to him, and there you go. There's all his information. Thank you very much, Brad, for being a part of the show again. Wednesdays with Weddington. You can go to his Facebook page, Wednesdays with Weddington on Facebook. See more videos and clips and ask him anything you want to ask him. Have a good one, dude.
All right. See you, buddy.
All right. See you, man. That is Mr. Brad Weddington right there. I'll take off the phones now, and we will get back to your forecast. Again, we're talking a lot about flooding because, of course, it is 2026 Kentucky Flood Safety Week. So we always like to be ready for that. You can learn more at www.bereadykentucky.com or news at bereadykentucky.org, or you can go to weather.gov and click on our area, and you're going to see they've actually got a downloadable slide that shows kind of our hydrology outlook, and that's hydrology just means water, and it shows you our spring flood forecast. So Laura says, thank you. Thank you, Brad, for being a part of the show. Hey, Jerry Keel, good morning to you. Thanks for always updating us. Appreciate you. Thanks for being here this morning. And we'll get back to your forecast here as well. Let me pop up the 7-day for those of you popping on a little bit later in the show. And then we'll look at the weather maps, and we're going to look at some beautiful news in the long range outlook, that being the big warm up for late next week. So we'll have a little bit of rain overnight and early tomorrow morning. Really not a big deal. I think a lot of tomorrow is actually going to be dry, and then 60 Friday, 65 Saturday. A lot of the weekend is dry. There might be a sneaky little sprinkle late Saturday, and then some rain could develop late Sunday night. Monday, a little bit of a wintry mix. That mix would mainly be north of 64, and then rain south. That is going to take some fine tuning, because there's a stationary front over the area. Within a county by county, we're talking different temperatures. And so we're going to have a little bit of a tricky forecast early next week. But right now, it looks like our temps are above freezing, so I wouldn't expect any big deal as far as wintry precipitation for next week. Something to keep an eye on, though, as we begin March. But I wouldn't call it March like a lion just yet. It still doesn't look too bad. I showed this earlier, but just a fun picture I wanted to pop back up here. A couple Chiefs caught in the produce section. This is on today's date 10 years ago. Me and the wonderful John Belsky, former chief meteorologist there at Wave 3. I know a lot of you guys grew up watching him, watched him for a long time, but still a Southern Indiana man here. Living in our neck of the woods. So good, John Belsky. That was a fun time getting our picture there. And I think is it Tim that works in the produce section at JC? That's where that was. So a fun picture there. All right, let's get this added to the stage. What are we looking at here? We've got a little bit of light rain down toward, probably now south of Bowling Green, near Bowling Green. We got a lot of cloud cover still in Kentucky, but seeing more sunshine now over Indiana. Pretty quiet conditions. It's just kind of a weak front that is over the area. And overall, kind of quiet conditions now over much of the continental United States. All right, so let's start digging into the weather maps. I'm going to bring up a quick look at the, I would say let's go HRRR, high resolution rapid refresh weather model. And it's not going to show much rain for us here for this little system that'll move through late tonight and tomorrow morning. I'm going to precip type this. I'm going to jump ahead to the overnight hours when we see the potential for a little bit of light precipitation. This might take just a second to load in here. So this is tomorrow morning on February 26th. Let me bring this back up. Okay, so there is just a little bit of a mix there around Indianapolis. Some heavier rain off to the south of us. I'm going to go back to the HRRR here, and so this shows a little bit of the rain filling in during the wee hours of Thursday morning. This is a snapshot here that will load up at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. So as we zoom in here, this shows a little bit of rain across the area if you're out early tomorrow morning. Also notice there could be a couple little sneaky snowflakes that pop in as well, especially for areas north of Louisville and to the northeast towards Madison. We see that. But again, above freezing temperatures, there would be no impact from that if you see a couple snowflakes there. As we go to, let's say, 9 a.m. tomorrow morning, let's go mid-morning, we're already going to see the majority of this moving off to the southeast. That's 9 a.m. So again, this is just not going to be a big deal for our area with the heaviest rain off to the southeast of our streaming viewing area there. So a lot of our Thursday will be dry. Oh, Vicky Berger says, I always watch John. I loved all the extras he had. He was a big snow lover, John. John Belsky. Christian Walker saying, please subscribe to Ben Peine on YouTube, Extol Weather, Extol Media, and Wednesdays with Weddington. We appreciate that. Carol, I did see the brine on the highway, the interstate today. There have been several times, and I actually talked to one of the county workers in Clark County. Where are you getting your weather information from? I need to still call them. I keep forgetting. They are putting down brine when we don't need brine a lot of times. I don't know how much money we're wasting, but I heard they're getting their forecast from a different state. This is just what I'm hearing, and it just I don't know. Way too cautious with some of that brine out there, in my opinion. I'll just leave it at that until I learn more from the county. All right. Here is tomorrow afternoon. It looks dry. Let's look at the cloud cover. And look at that. Looks like we might clear out even tomorrow afternoon. That looks nice. And temperatures are actually going to be decent tomorrow. I'd say low 50s for most locations. There you go. This is showing lower 50s around the area tomorrow, behind that little weak front that moves on through. So all in all, not bad whatsoever. Let's see. Do we have total precipitation? I mean, it is very light stuff. Very light stuff for early tomorrow morning. And a lot of us will sleep right through it. So that's that. I'm going to go to the GFS weather model. We're going to look at the longer range outlook. I think a lot of you who are tired of winter are going to love what you hear about this forecast here as we jump ahead. I'm going to go to, let's see if a sneaky sprinkle shows up Saturday on our February the 28th. So yeah, there's a little blip here Saturday. I got a lot of doubts whether we'll see a sprinkle Saturday. I think a lot of the day is just going to be very nice. Here's the temperature map for Saturday, and it is showing some 60s across the region. And I think we'll do a little bit better than what this little map shows here. I think it was 64, 65 is a good number for our high temperature Saturday, especially if we see a decent amount of sunshine. But we're definitely on the warmer side of things. Look at this warm up to the southwest, by the way. Again, we're getting a higher sun angle now that we're heading into March, and that allows the southern regions to really warm up. So that's around 90, 80s, near 90 degrees in Texas. So we're going to start to see those warm bubbles making their trek farther north. But that doesn't mean winter is over, because there's still this guy up here. Minus numbers over much of Canada. If the jet stream should decide to take a dive, cannot rule out still some wintry weather and some colder temperatures at some points. Now, let me get back to the precipitation. And I'm going to precip type this. I'm going to go to Sunday night. So Sunday is 27th. We're going to go to like 10 p.m. Sunday night. Not much happening. Again, a lot of the weekend is dry. So let me go here to Monday morning. No. I am completely wrong. The 28th is Saturday. So this is Saturday. March 1st is Sunday. Let me get my bearings straight here. So now we're looking at Sunday night, March 1st. There it is. There it is. So this model is showing I-70 North snow, wintry mix to around Columbus, Indiana, then most of southern Indiana rain. This is Sunday night, 10 p.m. Let's go Monday morning. That'd be March 2nd. Now we're getting our days and times right. So March 2nd, morning time. This is 7 a.m. Monday morning. A little bit of a wintry mix. Let me back this up a little bit to like 1 a.m., 4 a.m. It'll be interesting how this ends up, because the European weather model is farther south with this snow chance. And the GFS is a little farther north. I'm betting on the more north solution. The Euro is putting down a little bit of accumulation early Monday morning, but I think there's a better chance of that over central and northern Indiana. So a little bit of a messy kind of mix over the Hoosier State. Kentucky would just be rainfall, except for northern Kentucky. And then that system moves out. Then we got a stationary front that's going to park over the area. Let me look at snow depth. So this is the snow map. Yeah, I mean, it's printing out a pretty good snow up around Indianapolis for Monday. Look at that, 7 inches. We'll see if that happens. That's just kind of something to keep an eye on right there. There's some snow potential. It has a little bit of snow in southern Indiana as well. So don't be surprised. Monday could be a little weird. I'm just saying it could be a little weird. We're going to watch that. We're going to update this over the next couple of days. Something to keep an eye on there. Christian's saying, what's the percentage near you? I would say a high percentage of this wintry mix and some snow for Sunday night into Monday morning. So that'll be fun for you, Christian. And I'll give you the update on that forecast as we head over the next couple of days. Let me get back to the reflectivity map here. And I'm going to jump into March 3rd. Looks like a little bit of a rain chance back. Again, we're talking about a stationary front. Watch these temperatures here. So the warmth kind of goes south. This is March 3rd. It shows us on the cool side. And let's go into March 4th. March 4th would be our Wednesday next week. And it shows us still on the cool side. Golf on Saturday for the golfers. Yes, I would love to get out to the golf course, but I might be visiting a grandniece out of town, a brand new grandniece into the world. I'll share some pictures this weekend. Okay, so that's next Wednesday. We stay cool. Here's what we're looking for. Here's the big teaser for next week. Let's get into next Thursday. I think we're going to see a surge. There's the surge with a south breeze, and we start to kick those temperatures up a notch. This shows at least well into the 60s. Okay, that's just the beginning. Let's go into March 6th. So this would be next Friday. We're definitely on the warm side of things here, 60s, if not 70s. And then we go to March 7th. This would be the warmest so far this year. Next Saturday, Tailspin Ale Fest. That shows 75 degrees. A lot of times these maps are conservative, so I would not be surprised if we hit maybe our first 80 degrees. Not this Saturday, next Saturday. Now, this Saturday is going to be nice in the 60s, but we might see some well into the 70s temperatures March 7th timeframe. So a couple weekends from now. These weather models, by the way, have been very consistent. The Euro as well, the Canadian and the GFS for a significant warm-up for late next week. Look at that warm air winning out right there. Let's go to the 8th. So this would be March 8th. And since we're going long range, it is now time for the good old Ben on a Limb segment. So that still shows some mild temperatures right here. Probably a front moving through around that time. Let me see if we got something popping up on the reflectivity. Yeah, that would be. And if you make it into the 70s in early March, we might have something to pay for here in the form of some storms, something we always need to watch out for. This shows the potential energy for storms looks really high to the south. Look at that energy, the fuel for storms over the deep south. So that would maybe be like an outbreak down over the deep south in the Gulf Coast states. Hopefully not as much for us. But nonetheless, a lot of times a big warm-up is followed by storms. That looks kind of like a squall line of storms right there around March 9th. So on the tail end of the big warm-up, maybe not next weekend, the 7th and 8th, but maybe just after that, maybe we'll have some storms around that time. I'm going to go back to the temperature map here. It shows us on the warm side here through March 9th. I'm going to go to March 10th. In the afternoon on March 10th, we are still seeing the warm air wind. Anything in the yellow and orange, that is above normal temperatures. That's March 10th. How long can it go? March 11th, looks like a front moves in. We're kind of on the edge, but still on the warmer side. Will that cold air win the battle and come down this? No, the warm air wins. March 12th. March 12th. That's pretty nice. Look at that. And I think Texas is showing the warmest temperature so far this year in the 90s. Look at that. So again, we're seeing warmer winning for the first 2 weeks of March. And as far out as the GFS can go, that shows us still on the warm side. So what does a division of the National Weather Service, the Climate Prediction Center, say about all of this? And we can expand out our view, the 6 to 10 day outlook, much of the United States under above normal temperatures. Now we're going to have that stationary front that'll probably keep us a bit cool early next week. But then beyond that, as we look at the 8 to 14 day outlook, there we go. We are, almost coast to coast and border to border. All of the orange shadings, the red shadings show high confidence of above normal temperatures through the long range outlook here. So it could be a warm start to March. What you got to watch out for if that happens, of course, a lot of our fruit trees and the vineyards, if you get an early bud and then you get a freeze after that can mess things up. So it's always kind of a tricky situation around our area in March and April to balance out budding and frost and freezes in the beginning of the growing season. So it's just kind of something to keep in mind there. And then as we get warmer too, we'll likely start to get, as you know, wetter. It kind of goes hand in hand in late winter and early spring. If we do get these big warm-ups, a lot of times we're getting fed moisture from the Gulf, and we will have higher rain chances as well. So then you got to just kind of think about flooding. And of course, we've been talking about right there behind me, 2026 Kentucky Flood Safety Week. And we talked earlier about that with local custom home builder Brad Weddington. Laura says, looking good there. I can turn off Brad's banner now since he's no longer on the show here. Lillian saying, have a nice day. Have a great day, Jerry Keel. Thanks for being a part of the show here this morning. Let's do a forecast recap. And since we looked at the long range outlook, that was the good old Ben All M segment. And hey, it's looking nice out there. I'm seeing a little bit of sunshine peeking through. Still mostly cloudy, but a quiet start and pretty mild start to the day as well. A last look at some of the live conditions. Hey, there's our live show up right now. Thanks for subscribing on YouTube, by the way. 50 degrees. Thanks for also sharing or subscribing or following on my Facebook page or Extol Weather on Facebook or Extol Media as well. So thank you very much. And this is extolmag.com/weather. 50 degrees, wind at 14. Feeling very comfortable out there. We've got the brand new weather story posted for you too. Here's any of your national weather maps. You got traffic and weather, Kentucky rivers and lake levels, drought status, all that stuff. And one thing to mention here with the drought status from the drought monitor, we are in yellow here in Indiana. So that is actually good going into springtime because the water tables are a little bit lower. So we can soak up a little bit more water in southern Indiana. That shows D0, which is called abnormally dry. We haven't had a real wet winter. So that is a good thing. But always something to keep an eye on this time of the year is the flooding potential. Orleans saying, have a good day. You as well. So just wanted to point that out there, right there. And let's get back to, I wanted to mention, you can always contact me whenever you want. Right here is my contact information, ben@extolmag.com or jason@extolmag.com. If you want to learn about advertising and marketing solutions, or if you just have a weather question, we're right here for you. And here's your weather headlines. Feeling better today in the mid to upper 50s. Light rain early tomorrow. Not a big deal there. Fantastic February finish. 60 Friday, 65 Saturday. And then the following Saturday, March 7th, is the Tailspin Ale Fest. You can get the general admission tickets. It starts at 3 p.m. Saturday. Always a blast out there. Some good brews to enjoy and some other drinks and food and live trucks and entertainment, all at Bowman Field. And it's looking like we could be really warm for the Tailspin Ale Fest, tailspinalefest.com. Right after that, the following weekend, Saturday, March 14th, it's the St. Patrick's Parade in the Highlands, and I'll be one of the judges out there. See you there. And then a couple weeks after that, it's April 4th. Put it on your calendar at the Melwood Arts Center. It's the Jessica's Journey Foundation benefit concert. It's going to feature the Juicebox Heroes. They are well known in our area, the Suburbans and food trucks and drinks, and the Final Four on all the screens as well. So lots of fun stuff that I hope to see you there. And our countdown continues. Time change in just 11 days. That's going to be that weekend, the 7th and the 8th. The Tailspin Ale Fest weekend is our time change weekend. We lose the hour of sleep, but we do gain an hour of sunset. It's 23 days until spring begins, March 20th. Thunder over Louisville in 52 days, and the Derby Day in 66 days. Weather history here. I'll put this on Facebook at around noon. You can take a longer look at that. Our stupid weather jokes of the day. You know, dogs can't read MRIs, but cats can. Cats can. What do you call it when an inmate gets tased? Shaka Khan. What happened when Iron Man teamed up with Silver Surfer? They became alloys. Allies. All right, here we go. 57 degrees, our high today. Looking pretty good out there. Just a tad bit breezy again for your Wednesday. Happy Hump Day, February 25th. Tonight, low 37 degrees. Cloudy, a little bit of light rain developing. There could be a few snowflakes that mix in overnight, early tomorrow morning, especially over the northern portions of our area. And our forecast tomorrow for your Thursday. Just a little bit of rain in the morning time. Looking pretty good for much of the day, though. 45 at noon, 52 for the afternoon high, and we should see some sunshine for our Thursday afternoon. A lot of sunny skies for Friday and 60 degrees, 65 Saturday, 54 Sunday. Most of our weekends looking dry. A little wintry mix possible Monday. Again, a lot of fine-tuning going to go on that, so stay tuned early next week for our precip chances for Monday, Tuesday. And then just beyond the 7-day forecast is when the biggest warm-up potential of 2026 should arrive to the area. And that's what I'm looking forward to for sure. One last thank to our sponsors, and we'll get to any last comments or questions as well. This is Weddington Custom Homes, WeddingtonCustomHomes.com. Again, we just talked to local home builder Brad Weddington, and I want to thank our partners here at Clogbusters with a Z Plumbing Services, clearing the way one flush at a time. The plumber you want to call, you can contact them all here in the bottom right-hand corner, or you can call them. Easy to do. They're 859-762-1214. They've got you covered throughout the Commonwealth of Kentucky and maybe even parts of southern Indiana. They got the service vehicles to reach out. Here's our partners here at Ivy Tech Community College, and they are becoming the hub of southern Indiana with the Baptist Health Urgent Care Center that they're building. You're going to see a lot of construction there as they're building the Family Scholar House. A lot of cool stuff happening there on campus. If you want to level up, dozens of tier certifications and nursing programs, and a lot going on here at Ivy Tech Community College in Sellersburg. You can hook up with Tuesdays at the Tech as well. Lyons Roofing, that's Lyons, lyonsroofingco.com. If you have any issues, any leaky situations, any gutter problems, anything you want to get checked out, free quotes, you can call now, 812-294-3595 on both sides of the river throughout the metropolitan area. And maybe even beyond. I think they even had some work in like North Carolina. They got a big team that can help you out. Michael Long, for any insurance needs, if you want to get a quote, tell them I sent you, 812-578-3072. And you can go to amfam.com. He's provided us some information for our Flood Awareness Week, as well as there are some optional inland flood insurance policies that you can get if you want that. And also Grantline Nursery and Garden Center. If you want some landscaping help this spring, they can help. It says they are hiring as well. You can contact them right here. You can just pop in their nursery. They've got 16 greenhouses. They've got 7 acres. They've got over 100,000 annuals. The pansies are ready to go. They're getting the roses in. They are busy right now growing for you. You can call them 812-945-5676. And a shout out to our friends here at Libs Paving, the top asphalt contractor around. You can go in the upper right-hand corner. They may have an opportunity for you in their busy season coming up, or someone you know. You can tell them to go right here to Libs with a B as in Ben, libspaving.com, and you can apply there online for all those available potential opportunities for you, again, or someone you know. You always have your 24 hours a day, 7 days a week weather resource here at extolmag.com/weather. All of our maps and things have been freshly updated by me here this morning. All right, Orleans saying, have a very good day. Thanks for being with us on the show this morning. Christian saying, what about are the chances of precipitation through thunderstorm? No thunderstorms there. You'll just have a little bit of maybe a little light snow tonight and some rain mixed in. Not a big deal for you. Looking at late Sunday into Monday for your chances there up in Indianapolis. All right, that's the big show here. Ben at 10 on a Wednesday, February 25th. As always, we've got a lot of interesting things we'll talk about tomorrow. That's going to be, will the wintry mix stay in the forecast? We might have to do a compare and contrast of the Euro and GFS. The snow potential is getting close Monday. This is something to keep an eye on. And then the major warm-up late next week. Can't wait until that pops in the 7-day forecast. All right, you guys have a great one. Enjoy the more comfortable conditions out there. Or remember, like, share, follow, subscribe. We appreciate that on our social media and on YouTube. All right, guys, you have a good one, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. Same time, same place.